The Whitlock family had a tradition that went back decades. Every December without fail, a caroler would visit their old farmhouse on Winter Hollow Road. He was never part of a group, never asked for donations, never lingered for food or warmth. He simply arrived with a warm lantern, sang with a voice so calm and steady it could ease any cold night, wished them well, and left. As children, the Whitlock siblings would gather at the window waiting for him, pressing their hands to the cold glass to catch a glimpse of his golden lantern glow. His arrival felt like the true start of Christmas. His melody gave the season its warmth. And then one year, he didn't come. No knock, no song, no explanation. Then the next year, nothing again. And the next. 7 winters passed with no hint of him. The family joked that he must have retired, or moved away, or simply grown too old. Their tradition faded with time, though not completely. Everyone still remembered the peaceful man with the lantern who made their childhood winters feel magical. This year, for the first time in ages, the entire Whitlock family reunited at the farmhouse. 12 adults now. They cooked together, caught up, shared stories, and filled the old place with warmth. Outside, snow drifted lazily across the fields, the kind of snowfall that made everything feel calm and safe. That night, that quiet was broken by a slow, heavy knock at the door. Thump, thump, thump. Paul answered, expecting a late delivery, maybe a lost traveler. Instead, the lantern light greeted him first. Blue, not warm, golden light like he remembered, but cold, pale blue. The caroler stood in the doorway. His face was older, worn, stretched in a way that didn't look natural. His coat was frayed, dusted with frost. His scarf hung in torn strands. His eyes were hollow and distant. He lifted the blue lantern, and he sang. Not a carol, not a tune anyone recognized. A low, distorted melody that made the air feel colder with each note. The song ended in a whisper. Cold night, he said. May I come in? Those words were wrong. The caroler had never asked to come inside. But despite the growing unease in the room, the family stepped aside. He crossed the threshold, and the temperature dropped immediately. Frost crept across the hardwood floors. Their breaths became visible. He walked the house slowly, humming under his breath, scanning each person with an eerie stillness. Grace leaned toward her sister and whispered, He's not the same. The caroler turned his head slowly, too sharply, toward her. I can hear you, he said softly. No one breathed. Paul cleared his throat and tried to steady his voice. Maybe it's time you... I'm not finished, the caroler said, his tone calm but final. His lantern flared brighter. He turned toward Emily. She took a step back, her heels hitting the dining room doorway. The caroler drifted toward her, not quite walking, not quite floating. He held the lantern close to her face, letting the pale light wash over her skin. Your voice, he whispered to her. It reminds me. Emily shook her head, confused and terrified. She tried to look away, but his eyes followed her with chilling precision. He smiled a thin, stretched smile. Emily bolted into the dining room and crawled under the table, trembling, covering her mouth to muffle her breathing. The caroler stepped into the doorway, humming a few notes as he walked slowly across the frost-covered floor. Emily, he sang softly. Open your eyes. The room grew so cold her breath crystallized in front of her. Frost spread beneath the table. The tablecloth lifted as if something breathed upwards. Emily squeezed her eyes shut. A whisper brushed her ear. "I found you." A burst of freezing air filled the room. When the family rushed in, Emily sat frozen upright under the table. Eyes open, lips parted, mid-breath, a perfect sculpture trapped in frost. Grace screamed. Jenna dropped to her knees, sobbing. Liam shouted at the caroler, "What did you do?" The caroler looked at the frozen girl and tilted his head. "One gone," he whispered. The room erupted into chaos. People sprinted through the hallways, chairs scraped across the floors, distant doors slammed. Everyone scattered, trying to escape the impossible cold and the man who brought it with him. Daniel grabbed the fireplace poker and swung it at the caroler. A beam of blue light fired from the lantern, striking Daniel in the chest. His breath caught instantly, and frost bloomed across his shirt. His arms stiffened, his eyes widened. Then he froze in place, still standing, his body turning solid in an instant. A sharp crack echoed as the ice burst outward, leaving Daniel locked mid-strike, a statue made of terror. Panic spread. Lena and Mark fled into the bathroom, shutting off the lights. Their breath fogged the darkness. Then they heard a third breath. The mirror frosted over from the center outwards. Words began etching themselves inside the glass, one at a time. Mark wiped the frost from the mirror with his sleeve. The caroler was staring back at them, not reflected, behind the glass. The mirror shattered outwards like frozen shards of air exploding through the room. Lena collapsed from the cold blast. Mark's coat remained frozen upright against the wall, empty, as if the person inside had simply vanished into the frost. Isaac barricaded himself into the guest room, shoving furniture against the door. But the caroler didn't need doors. The humming seeped through the floorboards, the vents, the air. Isaac turned, and the caroler was standing in the corner. Isaac swung a lamp at him, but the lantern pulsed. A silent wave of cold static lifted Isaac off the ground like he weighed nothing. His limbs locked into rigid positions, jaw trembling violently from the freezing pressure. Then the lantern flared. Isaac burst into a shimmering cloud of frost crystals that drifted softly across the bedspread like snowflakes. From somewhere in the house, the caroler began to sing again, not a song, but a count. 8 remain in Winter's Keep. A scream echoed. 7 now will fall asleep. Another voice cut off. 6 will freeze before they speak. Rachel, Finn, and Liam heard the countdown as they ran through the hallways. Liam's legs were struck by a flash of blue light. His body froze instantly, and he collapsed, screaming. Rachel and Finn grabbed him under the arms and pulled. His torso jerked forward. His frozen lower half stayed in place. Liam screamed as his body snapped unnaturally, still alive, dragging himself with trembling hands. They turned. The caroler was gone, but the humming hadn't moved. They spun back. He was standing right behind them. His hands clapped around Finn's throat. The cold was so overwhelming Finn couldn't scream. His breath froze inside him, his neck iced over in an instant. A soft crack. Finn fell silent. Liam reached out with a shaking hand. The caroler stepped on his head. A brittle crunch echoed down the hall. Rachel ran screaming into a bedroom. She shoved the dresser against the door and backed into the corner. The door froze solid. Ice crept across the floor and walls, trapping her. Her arm froze into the wall. Her clothes froze into the boards. She couldn't move. Outside, the caroler tapped, not knocking, carving. shaping the frozen door like an ice sculpture. The door shattered inward in a burst of brittle shards. The caroler stepped through holding a jagged piece of frozen wood. Rachel tore herself free, skin ripping from the arm. She screamed. He thrust a shard through her neck and pinned her to the wall. Silence filled the house. From the hallway, the caroler continued his countdown in a slow, chilling tune. 4 will fall to winter's song. A faint cry cut off. 3 won't last very long. A heavy thud echoed. 2 still run where hope is thin. The attic door creaked. 1 remains. 1 to begin. Mara Whitlock was the last. She hid in the attic, wrapped in a blanket, teeth chattering so violently she thought they might break. The caroler drifted upward through the floorboards like a shadow forming from thin air. His lantern glowed blue. He stepped toward her. A thin beam of early sunlight slipped through the attic window, stretching across the floor. The caroler stopped instantly. His lantern sputtered. The flame recoiled from the sunlight as if it burned him. He tried to step closer. His foot touched the beam and hissed, frost evaporating at the boundary. His expression, muted all night, finally changed. Annoyance. Anger. "Not daybreak," he whispered. "Not yet." The sunlight widened. Sirens approached the farmhouse, growing louder. The caroler backed away, shielding his face with the lantern as if the light pained him. His form flickered like a dying candle in a breeze. "Another night then," he murmured. He dissolved into drifting snowflakes that vanished before reaching the floor. Mara collapsed just as the attic door burst open and officers rushed inside. The house was a frozen graveyard, frost covering every surface, figures locked mid-motion, impossible cold lingering in the air. But there was no man, no lantern, no footprints, only a faint, warped melody echoing through the walls. A melody Mara recognized, a melody she would never forget. The caroler would return. He always did.